Once upon a time, in ancient Israel, lived a man named Jonah. He was a prophet, tasked with delivering messages from God to people. One day, God asked Jonah to go to the city of Nineveh. The people there were acting wickedly, and God wanted Jonah to warn them of the impending consequences if they did not change their ways. However, Jonah was afraid. Nineveh was a vast city full of strangers, notorious for their unkindness, and Jonah doubted whether they would listen. Instead of heading to Nineveh, Jonah decided to flee in the opposite direction. He boarded a ship sailing to Tarshish, seeking to hide from a task. As the ship sailed into the open sea, a fierce storm erupted. The waves crashed against the vessel as the sailors panicked, each one praying to their gods for mercy. They threw cargo overboard in a desperate attempt to lighten the ship, but the storm intensified. Meanwhile, Jonah was below deck, fast asleep, oblivious to the chaos above. The ship's captain found him and urged him to pray to his God for deliverance. Realizing that he could not run from his duty, Jonah confessed to the sailors that he was the cause of the storm. The only way to save the ship, Jonah insisted, was to cast him into the sea. Reluctantly, the sailors threw him overboard, and immediately the roaring winds calmed and the sea became still. While Jonah sank beneath the waves, a colossal fish sent by God swallowed him whole. Inside the belly of the fish, Jonah spent 3 days and nights. In the darkness, he prayed earnestly to God, repenting for his disobedience and promising to follow his command. God had mercy on Jonah and commanded the fish to vomit him onto dry land. Jonah, grateful for his second chance, hurried to Nineveh. He preached about God's impending judgment, urging the citizens to repent. Surprising Jonah, they listened and turned from their ways, and God spared the city from destruction. Jonah learned a valuable lesson about obedience and mercy that day, realizing that God's compassion extends to all people, even those we might fear or misunderstand.